Shabbat Shalom. I often think that I have an obligation to bring a lot of joy in this message or just information that's uplifting, and it's very difficult for me to do that today, and that's just being honest with all of you. It's difficult because of the nature of the world right now, the politics here in this country and around the world, and certainly our eyes are on Israel and Gaza and what's going on there, and that feels very frightening, not only with the entry into Rafah and the 1.5 million refugees there, but also next week begins Ramadan, and that holds with lot of potential for lots of violence, and that could be very tragic, and we hope that that in fact doesn't happen. In the meantime, I've been thinking about moments of transition and transformation of the Jewish people in the past. And of course, one of the great moments of transformation was 2,000 years ago at the time of the destruction of the temple by the Romans. When the Romans were conquering Israel, and when they conquered Israel, there were different responses from the different factions of our people. Our people have always been factionalized. One of the response was the response of Masada, which we who have been to Israel or read Jewish history know about. And that was a response that was not very effective. It provided a very heroic story that we love to tell, and although it's not told so much anymore. And that was the story of the zealots who went to the top of this place in the Judean desert and fought to the last man or killed themselves. What we know about that response is it didn't lead to Jewish continuity by any means. In fact, it was a response of destruction. There was another response, a pivotal response, and that were the people, the rabbis who wanted to go to Yavne. They told the Romans that they just need a little space. They just need to be, quote, left alone so that they can develop themselves and their people in a way that would not threaten Rome's existence. So Rome gave them the right to exist in Yavne, and that was the beginning of our rabbinic tradition, as it were. And it was a tradition that was focused on learning and focused on mitzvot and focused on community. It was a tradition that was focused on Torah and God. And it ultimately led to the redefinition of Judaism and the Jewish people and led to actually the people that we became. It was the people we were people who were rooted in values and rooted in learning, and it was such an important part of who we are. This morning we studied Torah. You know, in the midst of the challenges of these days, there's a lot of joy that takes place. We have a Torah study class on Friday morning and people studying Torah all week long here. And then this morning there also was a Rock Shabbat for our preschoolers and their parents and their grandparents. And it was filled with energy and filled with joy. And it was a way of keeping Torah going and bringing it from us to the next generation. This week we're reading Parat Kisa, and it's an interesting parsha, and it contains in it a description of Moses when he came down from the mountain. And it says that his face was beaming. The word karnot is used. It's the same word that was used to wrongly say that Moses had horns, and we know about that tradition too. But this is about the beaming of light from his face. He actually was showing himself to the people as a man of inspiration. The rabbis say that it was a reflection of his humility and his deep spirit. And so it was actually had an impact on him physically. And we know how our psychological and spiritual state can, in fact, impact us spiritually. So who was this Moses guy? Besides being the liberator and the lawgiver, he was also a man of deep, deep humility. He was a man of deep faith, a man who was connected to God, and it changed the way he was. So with all of his challenges, and particularly at that moment, he was able to inspire his people. We hope that we can gain inspiration from our Torah. We hope that we are able to remain together in a very powerful way as a strong community, supporting each other, learning together, worshiping together, supporting our brothers and sisters in the land of Israel, and most importantly, I think, living up to the values that we have inherited. They're the values that actually not only benefit ourselves as individuals, our communities, but all the people of Israel and in fact all the world. May you all be blessed with a Shabbat Shalom. May you be blessed with peace as you're blessed with strength.